So you'd say the most complete quarterback is who?
I would say it is.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Scarlet N Great podcast. Ohio State football with Scarlet N Great. This is your co-host, Florida Cory, talking. Johnny not here yet. Johnny misses y'all, sends his love. Hope you all are doing well today. You know, last time we had this gentleman here to my right, it looks like, as I'm staring at the screen. On the show, we had a pretty good viewership. Kiran Shanker is back with us to discuss some more spring game hijinks. This time with a quarterback edition. Talk about all three quarterbacks real quick. Kiran, real quick, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Cory. Thanks for asking. Finals week has been concluded for about a week here at the Ohio State University. So me and the fellow students, so we're just looking forward to September 2nd, Thursday night against Minnesota. Will be quite an exciting night here, especially on a Thursday night. School will be about a week in, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yep, definitely looking forward to myself. I might actually head up to Minnesota for that game. Anyway, so Kiran, you've been on. It was like a week ago. You've been on, so we've had plenty of time to look at the quarterback play in that game. Let's start with Jack Miller in the spring game. Okay. Now we start with him because he was probably number 3 in the minds of fans as far as quarterback. Let's just see how they performed in that game. Even though he had a couple bad moments, but he obviously had some good moments as well. And obviously the talent's there. And I think anybody taking one game, one basically glorified scrimmage, one practice, and saying he's definitely third on the depth chart, I think are a little bit ahead of themselves on that. Because I mean, as you know, you've been around it forever, dude, since high school. Coaches, this is one practice for those coaches to analyze. They've been analyzing scrimmages and practices all spring. This is just one that the fans happen to get to see a little bit. And Jack had some good and bad moments now. So let me ask you a question here. You gave me your notes on all three of these guys, and I appreciate that, by the way. So what did you want to touch on the good with Jack Miller?
Yeah, I think everybody, when they think of Jack, who's been paying attention since his recruiting, it's his throw power. I really think he has a good ability to push the ball with velocity. At least the intermediate and short areas of the field, we saw him do it a lot. What I really enjoyed seeing was some of these outside the number throws. They were pretty easy for him. That I remember especially, that was in the second half, I believe, to Egbuka, where his toe was pointed just a little bit behind where his front foot was pointed a little bit behind where Egbuka was running towards. So he throws it a little bit behind and misses the pass. This is something that young quarterbacks, especially second-year players, 19-year-olds, they just have to work on. To me, it's not much of a concern because I even remember Dwayne Haskins had a similar problem in his spring game where he was making some really nice throws, but a couple times his feet would either get tangled or misplaced. I'm no expert on quarterback mechanics, but I've been around two great quarterbacks as teammates in high school who one, Sean Clifford, starts at Penn State. The other is a backup at Wisconsin, Chase Wolf. So I've been able to play against great quarterbacks. And the number one thing is the improvement.
Real quick, I do want to cut you off. For any of those who want to make snarky comments about Sean Clifford or Chase Wolf, let me remind you, they're both starting caliber P5 Division I quarterbacks. Okay, they may not be Justin Fields, they may not be Dwayne Haskins, but they are starting. I mean, Chase Wolf isn't starting, but Sean Clifford is starting at a major college, and Chase Wolf is a backup to a 5-star, at a major college in the Big Ten as well.
Yeah, and to wrap up, what we love about Jack Miller so far is he really has the ability to make the throws we need him to make. And I think the progression is going to be linear. I see a guy who's improved from high school from a mechanic standpoint, obviously with Coach Day and Coach Jenner.
I noticed that too, actually. His mechanics are a lot different already.
Yeah, and I would agree. What we also talked about before the show is his accuracy has seemed to improve. Now, there were a couple errant throws, but for the most part, if you really look back, some of the tougher throws he had to make looked pretty easy for him. So a lot to look forward to with Jack Miller, and he's honestly going to push. He's definitely someone who could push for the job.
Do you see any glaring weaknesses in his game so far?
Yeah, we didn't get to see him throw the ball deep. He has the capability, but unlike McCord, who we'll get to in a second, we really weren't able to see him let it rip past 30 yards. The one pass that was intercepted was about, and if there's not a lot of space, force it only where Wilson could get it on that back shoulder.
Okay.
So it was a tough throw, and he was just off by a little bit there on the front shoulder. So
He tried for it. That's a throw that Aaron Rodgers makes on regularity. So I mean, we can't really expect him to be Aaron Rodgers right now. So he's got some development to go. Yeah. So do you think there's any shot he could be the starter?
yeah, for me to say he couldn't would be ignorant because I have not seen the practices. And from what we've heard, he's been good at practice. So
Okay.
for me to discount him would not be very smart on my part completely.
That's fair. So let's go to the guy who I think nobody really knew what to expect from him. He's a true freshman. If we're gonna like rank it in as far as who performed the best that day, I'd say 1A, 1B has got to be Stroud and McCord, and then 2 would be Miller in the minds of the fans. Okay, I said it before. You don't see all the practices, so you don't know this pecking order yet. But for that game, let's go to McCord now because we think Stroud is a presumptive starter. So we'll go to McCord, who could end up being the backup if Miller decides to transfer or whatever happens. You know, I'm not encouraging that. I'm not saying I know anything. I hope Miller's on the team in the fall because I really, really enjoy his family, and I think he's a great player and a great kid. But McCord had a great day and showed out for a true freshman. And to me, in my opinion, in my uneducated opinion, Kiran, he had the most arm talent of the 3. Am I incorrect in that, or is there a point to be made there?
Yeah, I'll disagree with you a little bit just because you actually make a good point. I think he showed the most arm talent because of the throws that he made. And it's interesting to see that he actually was able to make a 55-yard pass in the air on his first throw of the day. He's on a line there to where he didn't maybe lead him exactly in stride, which I don't even care about because he put it in the spot where Wilson was able to adjust.
He split the safety in the corner on that pass. I mean, it was really in between the coverage, and Wilson was the only one going to get that ball.
Yeah, in other words, it's as perfect as we would ever need it to be.
Exactly. I mean, so it wasn't a bomb touchdown perfectly in stride, whatever. It got the job done. It got the job done for what we needed.
Yeah, I think that throughout the day, he also showed a little bit of pocket mobility. That's something that he's probably going to continue to improve on. He's been on campus since January.
He's a little bit more athletic than advertised, I think.
Yeah, all you need is an athletic ability to move away from pressure, maximize the space of the pocket. And those are all things it typically takes a second or third year player to master. So I think he already showed a little bit of ability in those areas and a willingness to improve. Overall, in terms of his arm talent, as we talked about before, I think he sees the field well and he matches the arm with it. I think as a young guy, he didn't look like a freshman. And all really good quarterbacks that come in as freshmen that we've seen before, they typically don't look like freshmen, mainly because they have the head on their shoulders and the talent to match. I think he has both. I'm not going to give any hot takes quite yet, but I do think he looks like a good starter at this level.
So let me ask you real quick. This is a little unrelated to the quarterback battle, but so many Buckeye fans, they look at Quinn Ewers, a guy who's coming in, and look, Quinn is very impressive. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. But they really believe that McCord will never play here because Stroud will be the starter, and then Ewers will come and beat McCord out. I'm not of that mindset. I really don't think it's that simple. I think McCord is so good. It's going to actually, as good as Ewers is and appears to be, I think it's going to take quite a bit of a uphill battle to beat out McCord by the time he gets here. But am I wrong in that, or do you actually think I mean, you would say McCord has the talent to be the starter for sure.
Yeah, I think, Ewers coming in, all it's going to do is add competition. The best player is going to play. McCord can easily be that best player based on what we saw. And a lot of times with quarterbacking, it's all about your ability to run the offense within structure and outside of structure. And a lot of times to do both, you have to have experience. McCord's going to have all those reps to where when things go right, he's going to be able to make the play. As we saw with Stroud, who we're about to get to. And then when things go wrong, make a play. That's what we like to see in elite quarterbacks are both of those traits. I think McCord can get there, and he's going to be a heck of a guy to try to beat out eventually.
Absolutely agree. As far as quarterbacks go on this day, though, we will get to the presumptive starter here in CJ Stroud. You were talking about making things out of nothing or making a play when things break down. I think Stroud showed that on the very first pass he made when it looked like
feet to where he was able to follow through on the throw and fire that pass in there. Perfect placement. So he's twitched up as a QB. He came in at 192 and he's all the way up about 22, 23 pounds at 215. That was the biggest thing I was excited to see is you have a guy who already has a good arm in high school, making deep throws, has some good velocity to work with, accuracy is on point. And then you add 22 pounds with him. That's going to strengthen his core, his lower body. When you strengthen your core and lower body that much as a QB and you already have good mechanics, that mechanical so basically with the good mechanics and having a stronger torso and lower body, you're going to add throw power. He already had good throw power in high school. Now you can see the ball really just fly out of his hands. We all know that touchdown to Marvin Harrison Jr. He was able to start in the middle of the field, other comeback routes where he was firing it on a rope. Just like these other guys here, the arm, it's not the question. What's going to separate him from the other two if he wins the job is his ability to work within the structure, like I said, but also make sound decisions when things don't go right. I remember he threw the ball away a couple times when things weren't happening, took his checkdowns when he needed to, and it looks like he's just very comfortable in this offense. I mean, Coach Day's system, it can be hard to get a grasp of at first if you're running the whole playbook at the disposal, but once you get the hang of it, and once Coach Day works to your strengths, it's really something that you're going to be comfortable with. We saw it with Haskins throughout the year in 2018. Once Fields started to get the hang of it in 2019, he looked unstoppable. 2020, at times he faced challenges, but that was a COVID year, and he looked his best against the best in Clemson. So that was his best game of the year, you could argue. So with Stroud following that line, if he is going to be the starter, I think the best thing to look for in him is how he adjusts week to week and just how cool and confidently he's going to play when pressure comes, when the play doesn't go as planned, and also at times just taking the easy way out with the check down.
So you'd say the most complete quarterback is who?
I would say it is Stroud, and I think Miller can get there. I just think Miller, like his progression is linear. He's going up the bell curve right now where he's going to reach his peak eventually. I think Stroud is a little bit further ahead of him, but both of these guys are progressing fast. And that's what's exciting to see is you have three quarterbacks who honestly can start at this level and do a very good job.
So one final question here, and then I'll give it to you to whatever you want to add, you can add. The way you're talking about the progression, it looks like they're in good hands with Ryan Day and Corey Dennis. You'd say the coaching there is pretty elite, at Ohio State for quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Day's had so much experience, not just running an offense, but also getting the best out of his quarterbacks. He works with what they can do mechanically, and he does what he can to adjust it. Dennis has had a lot of experience with working with these guys, nothing but rave reviews for them. This offense is designed for them to maximize their talents, but also to maximize the fact that you can get guys open and you can keep things not necessarily simple, but understandable to where none of these guys will ever be scrambling to know what's going on post-snap and pre-snap.
And so final word, Kiran, is there anything you would like to add to what this QB battle is going to be going into the summer and obviously going to continue to be in the fall?
Yeah, I think it's really something to watch when you have three guys who are this talented. And I would say to Buckeye fans is don't stress about it, because no matter what, we're going to have someone under center who's going to be capable of taking this team to great lengths.
Awesome. So you could see, should we expect a national title type of competition even this year with a redshirt freshman or a true freshman quarterback starting?
Yeah, with this amount of talent, I could see it. That's why I'm so excited for the game against Minnesota. It's a great test against a great opponent. To see whoever it is, I mean, I'm going to expect it to be Stroud. That's my prediction. To see how they do under the lights.
Yep, you're right. On the road against a good defensive coach, against on national media, everybody watching you, and you're going to be in the spotlight on Thursday night because everybody wants to watch Ohio State and their new quarterback, obviously. So that's going to be a huge test. I actually agree. Kiran, as always, man. If you want to find Kiran, I will. You see his Twitter handle on the screen. I'm going to be putting it there. Uh, Thanks, Kiran, as always, man. We're going to have you back again and again throughout the summer, obviously, and obviously, into the season when the games actually start. We can get some X and O's expertise from you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on. And Buckeye Nation, it's a good time with the season coming upon us, and hopefully full capacity at the shoe.
Hopefully, you never can trust a politician, but we'll see. And as always, guys, goodbye. God bless, and go Bucks.